town, so.
So you in charge.
Hi.
Hey, Scott.
Okay.
Maddie?
Scott, you're looking awesome, dude.
Is Maddie coming? You know?
I assume so. She hasn't called me or anything.
Okay.
1 minute.
Yeah, here she is. She's here. Hey, Maddie.
We're not on agenda.
Oh, we changed it. We don't wait until they had to actually get on Friday, so we can put it on the agenda. We'll talk to them.
No. That's it. I'm not gonna, I can't replace it.
Is there,
Got what? My bag?
like a day for you or?
Yeah, I bought it online. So yeah. Thank you.
Late mornings and afternoons.
Man, I was talking to him, I don't know his name. I guess he's from my own neighborhood.
Okay.
He reminds me from Chicago back in.
We can go Charles.
Huh?
We can go Charles.
Yeah.
Advance that day.
Man, Chicago, man.
Small world.
It is small world.
And the president.
Oh, okay. And that's, and then, yeah, thank you.
Am I wrong?
I agree. Hey, so, some things I enjoy about this game. I'm telling you.
Guys, let me know when you're ready.
Yeah.
Anyway,
4:31?
You would have hit it 2 minutes ago.
I'm trying to give them benefit of the doubt.
Would it be easier before they got out of school for you? Okay.
Henry Champion?
Commissioner Champion's, or Chairman Champion is out of town this week, so he won't be able to attend.
Bill Powell?
Present.
Patty Coble?
Here.
Ray Cruz?
Here.
Scott Boris? Here. Dave Richard?
Here.
Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting, March 26, 2014.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
So motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Public comments on agenda items.
We don't have it.
No public comments? All right, we'll move on to review of financial reports and a list of bills.
So March was the end of our fiscal year. So we are wrapping up, or have wrapped up now, the 2014 fiscal year. And I'm very pleased to announce that the Housing Authority had a $395,000 overall net profit for the year. Just for the last month, we had a $49,000 net profit agency-wide. I'm very disappointed in the public housing program. We had a $977,000 net profit. I really wanted to be able to say that we had $1 million, but good year overall. For the month, I think we had a $58,000 net profit. Again, that is, as Commissioner Voris pointed out, that is exclusive of the overhead, which are captured in the COCC lines, but still, for primary functions of the public housing program, that is a monumental year, and those are dollars that we will need as we start to go forward with some of these other projects in the strategic plan. Just to wrap up, the Section 8 program had a very good close to the year. So most of the year we ran at a deficit, we ran at a loss. We ended up wrapping up the year with a good couple months, and we ended up at a $39,000 net profit in that program, which is phenomenal given the cutbacks that we've been facing. It's largely due to Ms. Lowe and her staff's efforts to really rein in the spending, and also just to kind of find that sweet spot between the money that's coming in and the money that's going out. So they've been very successful at that, and for the year to date, we had a $39,000 net profit in that program. So that's excellent. Just the COCC by itself, the overhead was $622,000 in expenses. There were about $61,000 for the month of March. Were there any questions on the financials? Were there any questions on the list of bills?
All right, no questions. Let's move on to a review of monthly staff reports.
So as you all received earlier in the month, the housing authorities presented a new employee handbook. The last time we updated the handbook was 2011. Obviously, the laws change every day, so it's very important that we update that. And one of the things about housing authorities, some of our policies are based on a different time period. So it was very important that we modernize and really built a handbook for employees. That was up to date. It was modern. And it really captured a lot of the things that are applicable to today's work environment. So that's one thing that's in front of you. We'll be working with an HR consultant to kind of go forward to do a review of our job descriptions, organizational chart, really just make sure that we're structured properly, and to provide a third party, kind of an independent face to human resources functions. A lot of times, things get very personal in an environment such as this one, so I think it's a good idea to have a third party who's very independent from the agency, raising trouble, to really manage those processes. We are also, as part of the strategic plan, we also have a energy performance contract as part of the year 2 goals. Basically what an energy performance contract is, the housing authority goes out, we put together a bid packet, and we find a contractor who will come in and look at all of the services that we have that are related to energy usage, gas, water, electricity. They'll offer us a loan of a sizable sum, and with that monies, we will then make a lot of upgrades to our systems. If we need new boilers, we would go and get energy efficient boilers. We would get LED lights. We would get multi-stage heating and cooling systems. Big thing is toilets, and apparently now there are 0.8 gallon per flush toilets, which if you ask me, I don't know how that works, but apparently it does. So, we've got a lot of opportunity there. We're looking at a couple of groups now. We have to do a full RFP, obviously, to do that, but we are starting that process. Ultimately, it's a big undertaking, but it's one that I think will be good for us overall, because in the long run, it will decrease our energy costs, and those are savings that are those are dollars that we can use elsewhere in the public housing program.
What did you say about getting a loan for that? What's that about?
It's a HUD-approved program, so HUD encourages housing authorities to do this. What basically happens, the process is, whoever we choose to handle our contract, they basically front us a loan of whatever the amount is. Let's say it's $10 million. We take that money, they give us the projects, and they guarantee the return. So we'll say, they're going to give us $10 million. We take that $10 million and do the varying things that they say will have the most impact for us as far as energy performance is concerned. The dollars that we pay them back with are the dollars that we save in the course of lower energy costs. The way we're funded is on a reimbursement basis. HUD gives us money for our energy performance, and they give it to us dollar for dollar. But if we save money, they continue to pay us under an energy performance contract at the higher rate. So we might be getting $100 right now. After an energy performance contract, we'll be paying $50. The savings in the $50 is how we'll end up paying back the group that provides us with the money to make the infrastructure changes. It's not something, just to be clear, it's not something that we would just sign off on. Obviously, it has to come before the board. There will be a full presentation of exactly how it works, just to make sure that obviously the board needs to be comfortable. There is a HUD-approved process that requires a full layout, so to speak, of the details.
And those are different than the grants Carlos is getting from the state, correct?
Yes.
So it's a different program.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be exclusively for the public housing?
Yes.
How long is it the loans get paid back?
It varies, depending largely on the kinds of repairs we're doing or upgrades we're making. For example, if we're doing boilers, that's obviously a longer term payback than might be light fixtures, or vice versa. Carlos will probably tell you a little bit better about how the timing works out, but ultimately the lender will give us, these are your repairs, this is the time frame. They'll guarantee that we'll make the money, and if not, they have to pay us the difference.
So when you say it's a loan, are we paying back interest? Or is it really just a cash flow issue?
It's more of a cash flow issue. There is a profit margin, obviously, for the vendor, but that's built into the loan. So yes, you could consider that interest, again, in a real sense of interest. So yes, to answer
But
your
there's
question.
really no hard value dollar cost to our agents?
No, because they're going to give us some money, and we're going to pay them effectively back with the savings.
Got it.
But if all of our savings goes back to paying them, then what's really the benefit?
Well, they won't. That's part of when they make that presentation. One of the things that we have to guarantee or ensure is that, okay, if our savings are 50 out of every $100, that 25 of those dollars are going to stay with the agency, and 25 is enough to pay back the loan. But that's something in that process we would make sure on our end that it was worthwhile financially for us.
And that $25 is not just now, it's the efficiencies going into the future? Is
Yes.
that $25 include the future?
No, it goes towards the future as well. So for example, if our savings are $25 this year, $30 next year, the payment back to them stays $25. Any other savings in there belong to us.
So we can get it in addition, we save money in addition to the front part of the program.
And let me say this, I mean, this is, we're very preliminary, and it's something that was in the strategic plan, and we started to really discuss it with a couple of vendors. As we go further down this process, we'll have to come to the board probably 3 or 4, even more times, to both explain exactly how this is going to work, and also to get all the necessary approvals to go forward with this.
Good.
The only other thing, obviously, is, as I mentioned, we are in year 2 now of our strategic plan, and as I think I provided everybody not too long ago, we have pretty much met every goal that we set out to, set for the first year. So we're very happy with that, and we're looking forward to really rolling out a lot of the items for the second year. Carlos just took me over to the office today. It's all drywall there. It's coming together. We're probably about a couple weeks away from flooring. We're getting it's starting to become a reality. You can really get a feel for what the building's going to look like. And I think when we have hopefully our May, maybe our June meeting, whichever one is the building's ready for, I think you guys will be very, very happy with the product there. So we're still kind of moving forward. Our internship program is the interviews are pretty much done. We're going to do some second interviews just to square down our candidates. But a lot of the projects that we have, obviously we've been using our new logo. It's on our Twitter and Facebook pages. The newspaper has it. They haven't decided to use it yet, but so we're starting to do a lot of the rebranding that we talked about, a lot of the reorganization that we talked about. So we're really kind of rolling into that second year, full steam ahead, and hopefully at this kind of frantic pace. And I'm sure sometimes the staff kind of want to strangle me for how often we're going through some of these things, but I think at the pace we've been working, that we're going to stay on track for a little while.
Hey Keith, in my business we have goals and then we have a little bit of a stretch goal. And I know you are doing a lot of things. Do you guys have any stretch goals for the agency to do stuff even better than what you're now doing?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and don't get me wrong, all of the changes now is a lot of infrastructure and kind of that foundation for all the things we can do. I have, and I'm ridiculous, but I have a vision that we could be very mobile, very virtual. We could really manage these programs from anywhere, whether, we're in the office, out of the office. I really dream of an agency where we only really need to be in office 3 days a week. Now, whether or not that's feasible or not, another story. But yeah, there are some kind of bigger, less likely, very long stretch kind of goals, and the things that if we were able to build to them, they would be phenomenal changes. We talk about the scattered site program, we talk about the development company, we talk about a lot of different things that are really kind of far out there, and they're not going to happen for 5, maybe 7 years before they're really the way we envision it. But yes, to answer your question, yes, I think there are some goals out there, even in the strategic plan, that are pushing it. And we'll continue to try for them. Maybe we don't make them in 5 years. Maybe we make it in 10. But I think there are some big changes that over time we can make here.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
The handbook,
Mhm.
employee handbook, it seemed like that was mostly had to deal with like employment
Mhm.
type of issues, and policies regarding that. And I know we had talked about just overall policies that we have for like purchasing and things
Yes.
like that. So that's coming in addition to this.
That'll be a secondary, that'll be later. This is kind of the first policy book that we're going through. We actually ideally want to have a policy manual, so to speak, for every department and ideally every position. In a lot of housing authorities, they always say, what we're going to do is create a instruction book basically for every position. That way, whoever's in that seat can open up this book and have the basic idea of what it takes to do this job. Every housing authority dreams of that. I've never seen one do it, but we will, kind of strive for that just as everybody else does. Anything else? No, Maria?
We'll start off with the public housing waiting list. You'll see our numbers are currently over 1,000 applicants waiting on that list. We have the Ready to House pool. We have 56 applicants on that, and that would be the pool that we take applicants from once we process them, all of that, and we do have a unit available for them. You'll see the notices that were served as well as the attorney referrals. We had a total of 4 evictions, and those were all at Maple Terrace. You see the Section 8 waiting list information. We have 231 people currently on the waiting list and 20 on our Ready to House pool. As far as activities at the different sites in a ROS program, Kim has continued working with the VNA to bring different services and open houses, clinics, to some of our sites. You'll see some of the other items on there as far as at the different sites, from the golden dinners to the children's at the family sites doing the retreats and all of that. And last but not least, we have already identified our next unit upgrade, which will be a 4-bedroom unit over at Southwind on Melrose. Any questions?
Sue?
For Section 8 for the month of March, we had 55 recerts right now in progress. We completed 35 annual recertifications. We completed 55 interim re-exams. We reissued 6 families who are moving out of Aurora. We ported in 3 families who are coming into Aurora. We sent 2 families out to other housing authorities. We completed 6 move-ins. 14 move-in inspections were conducted, 60 annual inspections were conducted, 38 re-inspections were conducted. We had 4 special inspections. 3 of those were carbon monoxide detectors, and 1 was a broken door. We had 7 terminations. 2 were families that moved out of our jurisdiction. 1 voucher expired. 3 were family obligation violations, and 1 was a voluntary withdrawal. And we abated 1 unit. And that completes the report for March.
How does the voucher expire?
If a family is moving and their lease is ending, we bring them in and do a rebriefing, we call it, and they're issued a new voucher. That voucher is good from anywhere from 60 days to 120, and when the total time is up, it expired and they're off the program.
Do we keep that voucher, or is this just gone?
Comes back into our numbers of available vouchers, yeah.
I have a question regarding inspections for the Section 8 program. Who is responsible for inspecting the property
At the
for
annual.
lead?
Pardon me?
For lead?
For lead?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're not lead experts, and so anytime that there's an issue with that, and sometimes we do get phone calls from an area hospital,
Mhm.
but they usually contact the health department, and then it would be up to them to contact the landlord, the owner, and we would issue a voucher for that family to move once we got that verification, if that is the case. And we do get those calls, every once in a while. In fact, I've had 2 this month.
Are there any questions, any other questions for Sue?
So we don't really know before a family moves in there if the house is lit?
Well,
They
what we
don't
look
use
at
that?
is if there's peeling paint,
Mhm.
and that's a violation, an HQS violation, so they would have to
Yeah.
scrape and paint. But if if they're living in the unit and the child is, usually it's of teething age, and they'll gnaw on that paint that contains sugar and it tastes good, and that's where the elevated levels of lead come in. And so, but we're not eligible to determine that that's what that is, so someone else would do the testing and then they would send the results to us. And
No-
so what we look at is if there's peeling paint in any unit built before 78.
And
So
what-
what's, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead, man, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, what happens if a family living in a lead-filled home has to move under the Section 8 program? How does that work? If it's been determined through the health department that the house contains lead,
Mhm.
the child has,
High level,
a high level of lead, whose responsibility is it to relocate the family?
it would be,
Since it was determined that the unit is no longer livable.
all we would do is terminate the contract and issue the family a voucher, and it's up to the family to find another unit.
Now, here's my question, where's our liability in that?
To the extent that we were notified and we then, did or farmed out, so to speak, or contracted out the reinspection, it's not our property. We obviously don't own the property. So from that point of view, it's not really on us necessarily to do the repairs. Like Sue said, though, in a situation where it's been determined that this unit is unlivable, we do provide the option for the family to move. Now, I think I kind of get where you're going, because obviously that's a burden to the family to have to pay for moving expenses. It would be not that this happens often, so it's probably something we could discuss or try and figure out how to help out in those situations. But technically, it's not necessarily something we're really able to fund, because we don't really spend a lot of money. We're not even funded really to help Section 8 families move or different things like that. In our public housing units, Maria, correct me if I'm wrong, but remediation as far as lead-based paint is concerned is typically just painting over it. It doesn't necessarily require that we scrape the paint back off. We actually, and obviously you have to go over a couple layers and all that, but the HUD standard for abatement of that is simply painting over it. Now, is that good enough? No, of course not. You would prefer to remove it, but that lends itself to a lot of other problems. So, it's something we want to look at and I'll dig into that. Some of the literal HUD policies on exactly what it is we do, and I'm pretty sure that like Sue said, all we are really required to do is move the families. Say, look, your voucher is now, your contract is terminated. You can move, wherever else you'd like to, at your expense. And then I think the second step for us is to look at how we can make that process better for our residents, and then also see if there's some reasonable means by which we can kind of control our liability a little bit. I mean, again, it's not our property, so that alleviates a lot of it, but because we have contract, we're doing the inspections,
Right.
we want to make sure that we're not
Right.
left kind of exposed on a situation like that.
Well, liability is one thing, but then kids is a second thing. I mean, I think we should, there's no requirement for a homeowner to assure us, in the sense that that there's no lead-based paint in the home, or?
I think excuse me, but I think that they do sign
Oh.
an addendum with
Addendum?
the city too. And to make the families aware of any lead in the
And-
unit, yes, and we do too.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if I'm a landlord and I like to pretend I'd be a good landlord, but if I own the property and I didn't, because how do you know unless somebody tells you? Because I wouldn't,
Right.
I own a house in Pittsburgh. I don't spend a lot of time checking behind the walls to see what's in there. So no, but not to say again, that addendum does cover us. They said the landlord stated they to their knowledge there's no issues there.
Right.
But again, to the extent that we can, if there's any way that we can, get in front of that issue, I think, we should try to at least.
Okay.
And that's something we'll definitely look at.
Yeah, because I've talked with a resident, Section 8 voucher, and she has to leave. She can't return to her home. She has children. Children can't get to school, and now she's out of a home. She has the option to move, but who can just pick up and relocate at a moment's notice like that?
Right.
Can't they stay? Can they choose to
They
stay?
can't stay. The health department
Well, the health department, okay.
said that she can't return back there. She has a 2-year-old, and so the 2-year-old has very high lead content.
If the owner were to fix the issue, yes, they could theoretically stay, but I understand the situation. The health department has kind of superseded even us.
Right.
Basically said that they could have to go. Again, like I said, and I'll spend some time looking at just the regs on what we can do as far as relocation. The concern we want to be sure, kind of look at, is make sure obviously it doesn't happen that often, I hope, but if it does, it becomes a cost issue. I mean, is it $3,000 to move somebody, and is it 10 people a year, or is it just 2? But again, it's certainly something we can, like I said, I'll look at to find out. Are there any other questions? Huh? Jimmy is on vacation again, so we'll give him a pass on his report. Before we move to the resolutions that we have to bring to you guys, I did want to just acknowledge the fact that the Maple Terrace Resident Council, the new Maple Terrace Resident Council, did come today, and we are very happy that they were able to come today. So if you guys don't mind introducing yourself.
I'm the council president.
And I'm Marlon, vice president.
I'm Sharon, treasurer.
I'm Brad, the sergeant arms, and we apologize, our secretary's on medical leave for 3 months, and that's Jamie.
Well, thanks for coming. Appreciate you guys coming. Hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, new business. Resolution 14-6, approval of amendment to AHA bylaws, removing the requirement for working session meetings.
So as you all recall, 2 months ago now, we decided we didn't want to do the Monday session. So as Chairman Champion pointed out, and he was absolutely correct, we do have to actually change the bylaws. The bylaws did require a Monday working session and a Wednesday regular meeting. So we have to have a resolution, and you guys have to approve it. So
Make a motion, we approve resolution 14-06.
Second.
All in favor?
please do a roll.
The second, I mean, it's been, yeah,
Has
Sorry.
everybody been okay with how it's going? I mean,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I don't like that Scott's not here, but that's okay.
He'll be here.
Scott, you still there? He might have dropped off.
Did we lose him? He was driving. Let's see if I can
Yeah,
get
he
him
might have
back.
dropped off.
Nice, I'm on
So, okay. You need a roll call?
Henry Champion, Bill Powell,
Yes.
Maddie Coble,
Yes.
Ray Cruz,
Yes.
Scott Boris,
Well, I don't think Scott's on the phone right now.
Dave Richard.
yes.
Motion passes. Resolution 14-07, approval of updated AHA employee handbook and related policies.
Yeah, it was Ray's fault. Ray hung up on you.
I didn't think you liked my vote attention, I hung up on me.
Were you able to hear us, Scott, when we, for the first resolution?
Yes, I voted yes.
Okay, all right, excellent. All right, second resolution, I think you're gone, is 1407, approval of updated AHA employee handbook and related policies, and that's where we're at right now. Any questions or?
I did have one question, Keith. On the handbook and the policy, are we getting outside help or consultant to make sure that we're doing everything proper? How did you do that?
Absolutely. We actually had a third-party consultant basically create the handbook. They took what we already had, kind of went through that, modernized, added sections that we didn't have, kind of updated what we had, and then we kind of followed that up. And Jessica from our attorneys actually went through and made sure we were following all the letters of the law. So we are covered on both ends there.
That's what I needed to have answered. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? What's your pleasure?
Motion that we approve it.
Second?
It's been motion and second. Roll call, please.
Bill Powell,
Yes.
Maddie Coble,
Yes.
Ray Cruz,
Yes.
Scott Boris,
Yes.
Dave Richard,
Yes.
We have no redevelopment matters right now. We have no additional new business. If anybody wants to go to executive session, we can go home.
I make a motion, we close the meeting?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
Scott?
Meeting adjourned.
Scott?
I'm good.
I'm hanging up on you.
Thank you, Commissioner Morris. All right.
You borrow my pen and I will give it back to me.
Oh, that was quick.
Nice and easy.
Good.
You need to run your meeting, Bill.
Tried that,
I
didn't
just
you?
lucked out.
I thought I got
I like it.
And the big boss man's doing all the work, so we don't have to.
Yeah, hey, that's, That's a good thing.
Well, I'm all for that, baby.
That's a good thing.
Champ on vacation?
Yeah, he went down to visit some relatives.
Good for him. You need to do that.
Oh man, I tell you, I got one more week and I'm gone. So
Oh, yeah, where you going?
I go to Vegas the first month of May every year.
Do you really?
Yeah, fight. Mayweather's fighting the third.
Oh, yeah?
We go down there and golf and fight.
Where do you go?
Play blackjack. You know, we move around. A lot of times we golf out in we usually golf out in Boulder City at the golf course there, and then we try to hit another one. There's one called the Legacy in Henderson that I love that golf course.
You go with buddies or with other law enforcement guys that you know from out there, or what?
Buddies from Chicago, CTA.
This from you?
CTA. It's usually depending. There could be like 14 of us. You know, and it varies. You know, depending what the guys got going on and stuff like that. But usually it's eight or 10 of us. So we get a couple of foursomes. We get off. Matter of fact, we get off the plane next Thursday at 8:30. We'll be on the golf course at 10:30. Oh man, I tell you, and I had just I had messed up my knee. I didn't know if I was going to be able to golf, but the doctor released me. I broke a bone in my knee, and I cracked the bone. At work, I slipped one night, going down some stairs. Yep, yeah. Trying to help a lady. I had my arms full of stuff to load her car up, and I'm telling myself, be careful.
Watch that last step.
And boom,
It happens.
So,
It happens.
but it's all good now.
I got a deal in, I think, September. So we're going to Vegas, and I'm gonna go a day ahead and stay a couple hours.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go play golf.
Oh yeah. Well, if you ever get a chance out in Henderson, it's a course called the Legacy.
Legacy.
I love that course, man.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful course.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. And thanks for the water too.
You guys were talking, I switched it right in front of you. It was like I was a blackjack deal, I switched it right in front of you. I know.
He actually did.
They were talking,
Yeah. And he actually drank out of this one before he
I noticed. I'm like,
Their water.
Yeah, he always has a peach.
Woo, you got the Fiji.
Yeah, I feel honored.
Up and running, anything you need, anything else you need, what do you have with you? Right.